Hey, what's up guys? I'm Agustin Urbano and I'm going to be showing you guys a quick review on, or maybe quick review, I have no idea, of my 35 to 70mm f2.8 Sigma, did I say that? Sigma 35mm f2.8 to So the silver thing on the bottom you see is the K mount to EF mount adapter. So that's like usually with my 6D. And another thing that I really like about this lens is since it is such a cheap lens, I'm not really scared to take this like while I go skateboarding and record or longboarding. Because even if I were to like mess it up, you know, it was like, I think I could replace it for like 30 bucks or 20 bucks maybe. And the quality on it, you know, I really dig it. Like, I think it's some quality stuff. Then I like how if you spin this around, it'll like, you could get it down to be pretty compact. And if you're curious, I'm recording this footage right here with my Canon 17mm f4L, and I really dig this lens. It's actually one of the, off topic, but it's like, I think one of the best cheap, I think it's like the cheapest L lens. I would still really recommend this lens, especially if you're in the market for a 35 to 70 or maybe even a 24 to 70, but you don't really need a 24, you're fine with 35, you know? Or even if you're shooting crop sensor, you can make this fit on like an EF camera with this adapter right here, and then that'll make it equal to maybe about 50 to maybe 100mm or something like that. I'm not sure. I forget what the math would be. I think you would multiply it by 0.56. You would use the millimeters 35 and 70 and multiply it by 0.56. And I think that will give you the equivalent that it'll match up with on a crop sensor. It also looks pretty cool. I like the metal design. It feels really solid. It feels as solid or more solid than my L lens. If you were to compare it to something like a newer, more expensive 50mm f1.8 lens, this one feels a little more plasticky than the metal construction vintage lens, of course. So if you need a solid lens, I would consider vintage lens. But if you don't need autofocus, if you absolutely need autofocus, of course I'd recommend a newer lens. But if you're just like really shooting like personal stuff and you shoot landscapes on your own, then I think you can't go wrong with the vintage lens. But if you're shooting with clients and it's absolutely crucial that you need autofocus, definitely save up, you know, get that autofocus, of course. I'll make a video on this 50mm f1.8 also, because I actually really like this lens, and I like it even more on crop sensor cameras because it becomes like a 70mm f1.8, and that's sweet. And yeah, cool. Well, till next time, I don't know what else to ramble about. Let's move this. It's not about shoot right now. And some b-roll. Yeah, I'll show like a bunch of like, oh yeah, I guess like I'll ramble about like camera settings. So a lot of times when I'm using this camera, I'm shooting it wide open. Unless I'm like doing video or like shooting out in the sun, then I might switch it up to like f1.8. I mean f8 for that shady 8s rule, you know, get that detail everywhere in the shadows and the highlights. So here's a bunch of landscapes that I took, or random photos that I took using this Sigma lens. If you like what you see, or like my work, feel free to check out my Instagram. So I have two Instagrams, @AUPhoto and @AUPhotos. For my first one, it's just portraits, and then for my second one, it is a mix of everything that I like to do and shoot. But it's just a super beautiful lens too, I don't know. I think it looks really cool, especially with this lighting setup I got, which is really just like a cheap light right here, and another light over there. I don't even watch NASCAR, but it's kind of there ironically because I like cars. And I got some window light behind me. Oh, and I have this lens on with a circular polarizing filter. Alright, cool. Well, till next time. Oh yeah, if you guys like my work, I also got prints available on my online store on Etsy, and my personal website is auhtml.com. I'll have links in the description. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. And you guys have a cool one. Go take some cool photos. Laters.